How about this? Name 3 songs that you know are about you. This is fucked up. Okay, name 3.
Okay.
Stop getting out.
Never Let You Go.
Would it be better to sing it?
No, it wouldn't be better to sing it. Oh my God. Sex with me, won't you come have sex with me? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay, Blind.
Cool.
Okay.
One more.
RX.
Cool.
Okay.
Easy.
Rock on.
Hello, and welcome back to Gossip Session, a series where I take something revolving around the internet or pop culture, and I give my unsolicited 2 cents on. This is something that popped into my mind a few weeks ago, and surprisingly, I had a lot of thoughts on it, and it's about a celebrity couple, a particular couple that doesn't really get a lot of coverage. When they broke up, everybody kind of just like slept on this, but it's pretty interesting. Like, this couple is pretty interesting. The couple I'm talking about is Emma Chamberlain and Tucker Pillsbury, or also known as his stage name, Role Model. They're a very interesting couple. I mean, they were together for 3 years, and I've only started like really getting into like the Emma Chamberlain lore within late 2023. But if you don't know who Emma Chamberlain is a famous YouTuber, businesswoman, and podcaster who started YouTube at the age of 16 and moved to LA to continue her career, and became more popular when she teamed up with James Charles and the Dolan twins and created the Sister Squad, which was the most famous, like, it was like a huge thing in 2018 in YouTube. She built a successful YouTube career that has over like 1 billion views in total over the span of like being on the internet for 7 years. She later launched Chamberlain Coffee, her coffee company, in 2019, and then started her podcast Stupid Genius in that same year, but then scrapped it and then re-released another new podcast called Anything Goes in 2020, and now has an exclusive deal with Spotify since 2023. She took a break from YouTube in the last 3 years, but as of late 2023, made a huge return with the video titled "Are You Mad at Me?" and then following up in the last few months of like last year of 2024, the Met Gala, stories from her childhood, and then uploaded a video from Miami to New York, Fashion Week in Paris, the Olympics, her vacation south of France, and then as like of recent of like 2 months ago, cleaning out her closet. So, needless to say, at the time of this recording, she's making a huge return to YouTube, but it's coming in a more like artistic, more like casual way. It's not really like her main thing. What she is focusing now is her coffee company and Anything Goes. And I mostly like listen to Anything Goes because that's kind of like how I like started like pay more attention to Emma Chamberlain in the last 2 years, was like listening to her podcast because it was on my Spotify watch list for a minute. But yeah, that's kind of like how I got more into it. Now moving on to Tucker, Role Model, aka Tucker Pillsbury, is a singer and songwriter and a former rapper. He got interested in music when he was in college and knew some people who were involved in music, according to Emma, and some roommates left a bunch of equipment and played with it, and sparked a huge interest in music. And in 2017, he self-released his debut AP, Arizona Play, and gained an online following, and was signed to Interscope Records, a company or a record company that like has people like Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, to name a few. Mac Miller also invited him to LA to work for them together, who the singer often describes as like a huge inspiration. He often plays his songs on acoustic guitar, and the music is often described as pop and bedroom pop. Most of the themes of like Role Model songs center around like mental health, sex, and relationships. When you look at these two like separately, some people might not think that they like make sense as a couple, but watching like, I guess like the one interview they did, because in February of 2023 they hard launched their relationship with an interview and photo shoot and a couple quiz with GQ, and we got to see them like it was like we were like outsiders looking into their relationship, and we kind of like saw how these two worked together, and seeing them like even like joking around in the couples quiz, it really did like give us like more insight on like why why they work in a way, and it was very cute. In general, role model and Emma Chamberlain's relationship is the perfect example of like private but not a secret. And although like Emma has constantly said that this is like her first public relationship where like, oh, like they just told the world like, hello, we're dating. In my opinion, it doesn't really like seem like a public relationship. It was just more like, you know, you just did like a photo shoot and a couples quiz. I feel like we just have different opinions on like what is a public relationship, because like to me, in these days of age, like from how I see it, a public relationship is where like they constantly like feature each other on their social medias. They make content together. They like she was constantly like star in his like music videos if they were like super public about it. That's kind of like how I see it, like, because like I've watched couples make like content about their relationship. That's kind of like that was like the majority of content that I did watch in 2019. That's my idea of a public relationship, where you like put your entire relationship online and like anybody can like make comments about it. And if you're like a more public figure, you would make like content with your partner all the time and document your entire life. So that's kind of my idea of a public relationship. But people already knew that they were together before they even like hard launched their relationship with GQ. Well, this was mostly because around this time Emma was getting like a lot of paparazzi in 2020, and there are like videos of them together. Specifically, like there was like a paparazzi video of them like at Sour Ranch, which was like a restaurant in LA. Then there was like a video of her walking out of that same restaurant, maybe on a very different night. And they were asking her about like this YouTuber, I think Willy Wonka. And Tucker was by her side the whole time when she like was saying like, yeah, like, am I in a relationship or not? Like, she was kind of like alluding to that fact. So, again, we already knew that they were together. Even before I like got even more interested in like I got more into like her content in general, I already knew they were together. And needless to say, like it was like the perfect like example of like how like if you're in the public eye or in general, you're just, I feel like that's just how relationships should be sometimes, like just private, but it's not a secret. Like it's no secret that you're dating this person. We all know. It's just, you know, you just don't always share too many like details. Like maybe they would make an appearance in a photo dump on your social media, and maybe you would like feel the need to like post them on your story at times, occasionally. But for the most part, like, you know, like your relationship is just your relationship. It's just private. It's just for y'all. So it was the perfect scenario because like when the news like surfaced that they broke up, there wasn't like so much like frenzy, not a whole lot of coverage. Like when it would like hit my own like Instagram like feed, because that's how I found out, through like Instagram. A lot of people were like saying, "Wait, who?" Or like one that was kind of funny, someone named their child role model. Seriously, it had something to do with that. But in general, it wasn't that public to the point where like where everybody was like talking about it, or it was just like a huge like thing on the news. It wasn't like J Lo's divorce. That wasn't really like the big topic on everybody's mind. So everybody kind of just like slept on it, and like the only people who were like generally like grieving in a way is just simply like their fan bases, which are like mostly like online fan bases. So even though she's transitioned almost seamlessly into like pretty like well-known celebrity, she's a different kind of celebrity, as in like she's able to like be more normal to an extent, whatever normal is, but she's able to like, I guess nowadays, like go out in public and maybe like not a whole lot of people would like automatically recognize her unless like there were more younger people, you know. But that was kind of like a good scenario for them. But back to the GQ interview. So I'm gonna like read a little bit of their interview. So as I'm reading, it says Tucker has a messy 90s heartthrob hair and a torso full of old school tattoos, and speaks with a low, careful effect. Emma, professionally a chatterbox who's spiritually more apt to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, tells me she admires how Tucker tries to do everything as precisely as possible. I'm curious about his perspective on their private but not so secret aura, which he maintains is uncalculated. Tucker says, we are just trying to be professional within our own careers, Tucker tells me. The reality of him dating a social media supernova who's been momentally famous since she was 16 makes for some inherent unevenness. We had conversations about it from the start. My goal was to never be able to attribute my success or anything to someone else. I was always very proud of what I had built, so I was very scared I was going to lose that. After a role-licking headline tour and a festival circuit last year, he feels confident that he hasn't. We have a very unproblematic, safe, private relationship. When we want to be private, relationship. We are never going to be posting photos and selfies of us on a beach in Cabo. That said, it's not like Instagram hasn't been of critical importance in their courtship. While they had some mutual LA friends, their relationship started out like many modern romances. Tucker slid into Emma's DMs to say her fit pic was fire. She remembers the outfit, a maroon turtleneck, black Dickies, and black boots. But Tucker confesses the first moment he really fell for her was, incidentally, the day he first downloaded TikTok. Scrolling through his feed, he caught a video of Emma, as he recalls it, trying to twerk to a Dayglow song in the bathroom and surprising herself as her ass moved a bit. For some reason, I don't know why. It had nothing to do with the twerking, I'm not a fucking creep, but it showed her personality. This to me actually makes perfect sense. I feel like I'm good at reading people through a screen, he clarifies, which is a very useful dating skill these days. As the universe would have it, all this went down in the first couple of weeks of March 2020. They texted nonstop for 2 months before they ever met in person. We were all desperate. We were scared of being alone, he admits. They were sending goodnight texts way too soon to be doing that. You do this thing where you're texting someone for 2 months when you're just fantasizing about the meeting every day. I was like, oh my god, she's going to jump into my arms. When they finally met, however, that is not what happened. They agreed to hang out at her place. A nervous Tucker showed up on her doorstep carrying an armful of pizza from Crossroads Kitchen, the celeb favorite LA vegan restaurant of which the drummer Travis Baker is an investor. Then she opened the door and just sort of let him in. I had pizza boxes, he says, so I couldn't even touch her. A bad omen. They ate their slices sitting on opposite sides of the couch. I couldn't speak because I was shaking. I didn't want to be near him because I was like, he'll see what day I'm saking, so I had to be far away. Afterwards, they played Fortnite. They did not kiss. It was a mess. I psyched myself out because we've been talking for so long, she continues. Like, what if I disappoint him? What if he doesn't like me in person? What if I'm cringe? What if I'm weird? What if I'm ugly? What if I smell? In hindsight, she realizes that they texted every day for months. They never once spoke on the phone. Very interesting. Very interesting. I thought we were never going to talk again. Tucker laughs. I almost cried on the way home. In my head, I was like, I fucked that up. We're done. I got to move on. A few days later, he mentions Emma mercifully phoned a friend who messaged him to come to a group hangout. We had literally had to hang out in a party setting once, and then we were good. He says, though things weren't smooth sailing yet. This is also Tucker's first relationship. Oh. I'm curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is he feeling about being in one so far? Truthfully, I always genuinely been against him. I can't express it though, he admits. I really was never picturing myself truly being in love. You spent time. There had been some flings, but he never felt the feeling of being in love with someone and just wanted to take care of them, which just makes me sound like a dick. But I've honestly never, aside from my best friends, I've never felt the desire to take care of someone and be there for them. He pauses, considering if these are the right words. I never thought that you could have someone that you feel like is your best friend, and you want to sleep with them. Then you met Emma. That's what clicked, he says, laughing. It's like having a best friend that you can make out with. And I can't do that with my guys back home because they won't let me. That's funny. While Emma has made a living off the gnarly details of her life over the years, she's been historically private about the particulars of her romantic life. Zits and tonsil stones and IBS have always been fair game for content, but love, or the respectfully I think about you sexually of it all, has not. Plus, for a long time, her YouTube persona has been sort of a long-term ode to being alone. The difference is I've grown up on the internet, she says. I started as a teenager, and I think a lot of times people still kind of feel like I am a teenager, which is understandable, but I'm an adult now, and it's real stuff. For Tucker, who had never watched one of Emma's videos until they started talking, after which he watched all of them, the personas never mattered much. When he first messaged her on Instagram, he says, it was a dark time, and I was very much like, fuck it. I got a DM from her the next day, and I was blown away. I freaked out, called all my friends, and I was like, do you know who Emma Chamberlain is? None of them knew who she was, he laughed. It's not really our world. My friends and mine back home, she's now best friends with my friends. We go home and they talk. They ask her for girl advice and everything. It's beautiful. It's like everything I ever wanted. And that kind of like ends the GQ like magazine. So later on in 2023, it was announced that they broke up in October. And a lot of people kind of like was wondering like what went on. And also, well, mainly because like it just felt like so like surprising because like they did like a nice little like interview with GQ, like a very cute photo shoot, the couples quiz. It was like everything just seemed like it was going fine. So when news broke out that they broke up, it was like it kind of like took their fans and like it made like their fans do a double take. Like, wait, what? Like we thought everything was fine, but like I guess not enough to like stay together. However, it's 2025 now. It's getting close to 2 years since they ended things. And within that time period, I feel like we now gotten the gist of why they broke up in the first place. So I'm gonna share with you like the gist of like what happened through what they've said in general on why they broke up in the first place. Exhibit A, anything goes. Emma, within this period of time, like from December 2023 up until now, has, in a way, kind of like given us like the gist from her side on like what went on, like why they broke up in the first place, without actually having to like say explicitly like making a whole episode on like why we broke up. It was kind of like split into like many like different like aspects or many different topics in podcast episodes within the last year, because they've been on her mind lately. And also she kind of like brought it up because it coincided with like with the topics she was talking about. So in general, there have been some episodes from Anything Goes that give some insight onto why they broke up in the first place. One of the biggest reasons, however, is she has a history of being attracted to guys who are emotionally unavailable. This is mostly said in her episode, It's Okay to Change Your Mind, where she talks about overlooking certain non-negotiables in a guy because she quickly comes to the conclusion of wanting to marry them. And this is kind of like an understandable like trait. I guess when you're like a huge romantic, you kind of like come to the conclusion very quickly with almost every person that you date, almost early on in a relationship, that this is the person that you're going to marry. I can relate to that to an extent. I wouldn't say I ever like came to the conclusion I want to marry somebody, but I've always like when I had crushes on people, I kind of like jumped to the conclusion of like I want to be with them for a long time, like, or I kind of like jumped on the quick conclusion of like this is my soulmate, and like I was also wrong too. So I get what she was saying with that too. And her other episode, Can Celebrities Find True Love, she kind of like maybe like alluded to some problems after the GQ like interview with like Tucker wanting buzz over their relationship, and maybe even like it sped the process of them breaking up more quickly. And then in her episode Emotional Crutches, she talks about like being attracted to emotionally avoidant boys, which is kind of like the same like emotionally unavailable, but she like brought it up again. And the new detail that she added is that she often felt like she couldn't be herself with her exes in the past, but she could be just simply talking about anybody. And I don't think it really relates to Tucker that much, because in the GQ interview, she felt comfortable with Tucker enough to even like. So I don't really think that like that one applies, because she felt pretty comfortable with Tucker, and she also said that she only felt that way with one person. And some people could say like it was with Tucker, or it could be with this new guy that she's dating. It could also allude to another ex, because like in mid 2019, Emma dated a TikToker named Aaron Hole for about like 5 months. I think that's what he said. And then broke up afterwards. And then in March of 2020, Tucker slid it into Aaron's DMs. And then Aaron later confirmed in August when he uploaded a YouTube video explaining like why they broke up in the first place, because like there was drama going around, like him kissing a girl at a party. And then there was like drama of him like calling Emma Chamberlain annoying in a Twitch stream, and it became a whole thing. So she might be talking about either Aaron or Ethan. That could be like, I'm guessing it was like either of them in general. But Tucker also like went on the Zach Sang's show and like talked briefly about like what caused their breakup in the first place. So we're gonna like listen to that interview real quick.
Looking back, what were the signs that you missed?
The signs?
Yeah. The writing on the wall.
Right. To be honest, well, the thing is like, I knew there were things that were problematic while I was doing them. And I would say that too. Like, I was very weirdly
Communicative?
about that. And I was just, like going home a lot, and kind of, again, like creating space and like leaving LA a lot and not really having a reason why to tell that person. And for me, it was just to like get out and go home. I was very homesick too, and that was a huge part of it. And I just wanted to go home alone and be with my friends and my family and like have some normalcy. And I think that would be very confusing for the other person. I think it's like, why are you running away from me? Which wasn't really the thing. I think that'd be confusing. And yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
What were you running from?
I don't know.
Because it was something.
Well,
It may not have been her. And by the way, homesickness makes sense.
That's the biggest thing. Like, that was the trajectory for, like, that was, like, the spark for everything. Like, in the beginning of last summer, I guess, like, probably late spring, I just became, like, the most homesick. I don't know what it was. I became the most homesick in my life. And I was having this weird quarter-life crisis, maybe, type of thing, where I was just questioning everything in my life. Like, why? Like, I don't identify with Los Angeles. I don't really love it here. And whenever I leave, I'm 10 times happier. What am I doing wasting my life sitting in a room all day and, like, literally doing nothing
truth to
outside
that.
of studio?
And all that can be true and still be in love with somebody.
Yes, exactly. Like, and then I think that just started to bleed into a relationship. But, like, and then going home a lot and just, like, feeling us starting to, like, pull apart from each other a little bit. And you could just, like, have that horrible feeling of, like, knowing something is dying and grieving it before it's gone. And that was when I started rewriting the album, because artists are annoying and they have to have tragedy to write an album, and it's disgusting.
So you had a project ready to go.
Well, I had a whole other thing,
Yeah.
and then we scrapped it, and I was like, this is the first time that, like, songs have been, like, pouring out.
Yeah, I think this is the best album you've ever made, dude.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank you. And I think it's a big step up in maturity. Something about my little quarter-life crisis, I feel like, matured me a few years in, like, a couple months.
So is there a blessing in the breakup?
Of course. I think so. There's tons, like, music aside from it. I mean, we got an album out of it. I hate that I said that. But I think music aside, like, there's something that happens that has always turned me off of relationships, where you just start to, like, block out everyone else in your life, and you never see them again, and you never hear from them again. And I've always hated that. Like, I've always tried to talk my friends out of relationships because I know I'm gonna lose them, and I hate it. And we're very protective of each other. So, like, it's like when you quit smoking weed. Like, if you're a weed smoker for years and then you stop, after, like, a week, the fog lifts and you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. I can, like, think clearly. I feel like a kid again. Like, I feel like my old self. And it's kind of the same thing when you go through a breakup. I feel like you leave it just being like, holy shit, I kicked all these people out of my life. I haven't been communicating. I haven't been social. And I came out of it with, like, no friends aside from my ones from home who I couldn't really, like, get to when I needed to.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it right here. the gist of it being like she was feeling very homesick. He was going through sort of like a core life crisis, what he just said just now, and also he was just getting very sick and tired of LA. This led to him kind of like, in a way, like Emma said, being emotionally unavailable. But he was being unintentionally emotionally unavailable, which kind of like caused a lot of like Emma's own like personal attachments to like it kind of like triggered some not so good attachment styles. So in a way, they drifted apart because of that, and that's very unfortunate. And then one person kind of like summed it up best in a comment section, saying like he wanted friends and family, he saw her as neither. I don't think it's that, but I felt like maybe he felt like he didn't want to burden her with those things. It's understandable, really, on both sides. If someone is going through something and then they're not really like including you in, kind of like, and this is going on for months, and that could have been like, a fix if they like communicated, then it might be kind of like a loss of trust. So maybe that's one of the reasons like why they just didn't really work out, like in the end. But when you see them together, like they seem like a good fit. Like they make sense. Nowadays, Emma is now dating someone new, according to Role Model, and then like many other like sources. We have another singer that she's dating. His name is Pierre McPolin. He's also a singer-songwriter. He signed to Columbia Records, and in 2023 came out with a debut album called Piggy. He's got interested in music when he was 14 and lived in Texas with parents who were very into music. In 2020, he released a single, Romeo and Juliet, which gained 1 million views on TikTok and gave him more of a following. And Emma is now dating him. So the timeline of their relationship started, and I think it started around December of 2023 when a fan took to Reddit to say that Emma was seeing someone new because of her Spotify playlist and saw that 2 of Pierre's songs were on there. Pierre was also following her dad and her best friend Owen Thiel, who were also following him. The two, I feel like, this is just my own personal guess, but the two probably made their relationship more official close to like May in 2024, when he accompanied her to the Met Gala and even like helped with filming it and was partially credited, and did the same thing when he went to the Olympics in Paris with her, which they were also snapped. They're also like pictured together watching the women's gymnastics. I remember like seeing that picture, and I already like knew that they were together, but like it was kind of like confirming what I already knew already. And also in that picture, he looked like Louis Tomlinson. Like a lot of people were saying that, which is true. Like with the little fade that he had like on his like little cheeks. Anyway. The pair also like recently soft launched their relationship on a Halloween with a picture of Emma dressed as Wallace and Pierre as Grumman on their separate Instagrams. And as of like today, they also like spent New Year's together with Sabrina Carpenter because people saw them and Sabrina Carpenter's recent TikTok video. And yeah, as of like now, they're still going pretty strong. I don't really have that many like thoughts on like these two together. I haven't really heard of Pierre McPolin up until now. When I heard rumors, like when fans started like speculating that they were dating. But like most of the comments people have been saying is that he looks exactly like Role Model. Like some would say that like Emma moved on pretty quickly from Role Model, but we all kind of like process breakups in our own little timeline. And I was thinking of this last night. The relationship probably could have like ended like maybe like earlier before it even like reached like before they even like announced that they broke up. Like even though like Emma posted like an episode of her podcast Is Romantic Love an Illusion like the same like week that the news broke out, it could have happened maybe like a month before. But I'm saying this because like someone like I think there was like a Dumois post that like came out earlier saying that Emma was at Fashion Week and someone asked about where's Tucker, and then like she said like, yeah, we broke up. So that's where I'm getting it from. So this probably happened like probably earlier before like news broke out. So anyway, I guess people are like kind of like saying that she moved on pretty quickly is because like Emma's always like classified herself as a serial dater. I mean, like it can kind of be like a red flag sometimes because like she mentioned in her breakup 2-part series on Anything Goes, she's never been single for a very long period of time, which again makes sense based on her dating history, timeline, and like that the public knows of, and like when Tucker and her started dating. So like it was pretty like not very long until like her and Aaron ended things, and then Tucker came into the picture then, and yeah. But at the end of the day, it's Emma's life, and her and Peter seem like a nice couple. Like, it's kind of all I have to like talk about for this episode. This has been the first gossip session of 2025. So, how we're feeling? Are we like feeling like entertained or something? Anyway, that's kind of all I have for today. You can follow me, Nick.Marshall02, all lowercase, on Instagram. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. More gossip sessions in the future. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, week, month, year. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.